Hello everyone, this is our panel of experts and we're going to talk about how globalization is not in retreat. My name is Aranza, Emiliano and Santiago, and we're going to talk about some perspectives about globalization. Well, the main purpose of globalization is for all the nations be as an essential unit. Globalization could include aspects like trade between countries, communication and information, or migration and tourism, and how could they benefit from each other, or how could it affect. Okay, Emiliano, so could you start with your perspective about economics, please?
I believe that economic globalization today is bigger than it has ever been before. As stated by the United Nations, it refers to the growing relations between creating interdependency between countries as a result of different trading commodities and currencies, stated by Gao Shangquan in one of the United Nations assemblies.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And Santiago, could you talk about your perspective in social and cultural, please?
Yes, my perspective is a result of these other two perspectives that are political and economical. Also, my perspective contains the themes of languages, employment, communication, and other things.
And well, I'm going to talk about my perspective, that is politics, that is also under globalization. And this political globalization is a process that allowed the development of institutions and mechanisms on a planetary scale to deal with issues that affect everyone. So how could they benefit, or how could they be bad for everyone? Okay, also, in what aspects do you deal with, well, what are the main problems of globalization on economics?
Well, this day globalization has, when we talk about economic globalization, different problems and different crises have created what is more of a nationalistic polity, which directly affects economy. For example, the new NAFTA renegotiations affected Mexico's and United States economies as different policies United States have created with China. This is why sometimes it is believed that globalization in an economic perspective is going in retreat. Yet, I believe that it is not this way, and I will state it further into the table.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No, that is it.
Okay. And do you have any, well, what risk could get of social and economics, or what main problems does this perspective have?
I think that the main problems of this perspective is that some countries are they are starting to isolate from immigrants, like USA with the wall, or the Arab immigrants that want to go to other countries. But this time, these countries are not letting these immigrants to enter because they say that these immigrants can affect their culture, their economic, and I think that this is a really wrong idea because an immigrant is like a new opportunity for them in their countries, and they import a lot of things to those countries, like the Mexicans in the United States. They import a lot of money to the United States economy.
Well, thank you. And talking about my perspective of politics, I think we usually deal with problems such as climate change or pollution, deforestation, and we are the ones who are in charge with every country for us to be to solve that problem. But also I think every perspective has their benefits and risks. Although many claim that they are more positive than others, but for example, a risk of my perspective could be loss of identity, that every country put at risk the preservation of their nationality or their identity. That could be a problem, or maybe economic control, that the political regulation leads to well, to different. Ay, ¿cómo se dice? Well, like, could lead to different like
Problems,
yes, situations that could affect others, and could also could get involved in that kind of problems. Okay, so we're going to talk about the benefits of every perspective could get, and could you start with the one of economic?
When we're talking about economic globalization, it means that in the interdependency between countries will help countries grow. What I don't have, you can give me, and what you don't have, I can give you. It is sort of creating a win-win situation. Also, in history, it has not been this way, which has created part of the nationalistic movement in which governments are trying to isolate themselves from the world, which one of the benefits that it will clearly bring is cheaper products that will be given to different countries, and it will also create a better quality of products, since it's a bigger competition to win who has the best product. So it is kind of a capitalistic movement in which it helps everyone get the best of what they have and make the best of what they can, helping each other countries with it at the same time.
Okay, thank you. And could you tell us about your benefits with social and cultural?
Yeah, my perspective have a lot of benefits, for example, in the education area, in the business area, because in the education area, this perspective have made that the new education system is built around a more global world. Now they are teaching more languages and more subjects about another cultures, because this type of knowledge can help you a lot in the search of work or in the search of a better place to live in. Because, for example, according to the WEF, in the USA, the demand for bilingual workers have increased since 2010. And in the business area, nowadays, I think that more of the business are from one country to another, and this made that people need to know more about other cultures and languages to negotiate with other countries.
And under my perspective, the benefit it could get is like mostly it could help create new organizations, or organizations to help the countries who are in danger or are at war or something, and they could help them create organizations such as the Organization of the United Nations that bring together most countries, and they help. Their main goal is to promote peace and defend many countries who are at war or something like that, and that's their main goal, to like help each other and get together all the countries to help everyone. And also it could also bring many benefits depending on the country, depending of their values or what they know. And it could also create like all the mixture of the culture and countries that help the nations could be a bigger one.
Well, I have a thing that I want to say about my perspective is that normally people immigrate to other places for employment. There are two cases. The first case is that people from developed countries emigrate to developing countries because of the work, because companies from developed countries put their industrial plants or their business in developing countries because it's cheaper the land and the worker salary. So these people from that type of companies have to travel to that developing countries to work and and see how these industrial plants is working there. And the other case is people from developing countries travel to the developed countries in search for better of living, like better salaries, less insecurity, more opportunities to grow in their areas, like the Mexicans that go to USA in search of the American dream. There are a lot of Mexicans residing in the United States. The number of Mexicans is approximately 33,500,000 Mexicans approximately residing in the United States. That is a really big number. So this information gives us like an idea of how people are emigrating from one country to another country. And this type of migrations cause a mixture of cultures. One example could be the Tex-Mex, that is a mixture of cultures between the Texan culture and the Mexican culture.
When we're talking about economic globalization, it is affected by different factors, such as, let me first state what economy is about. It is about how people interact with their money and their businesses. So when we're speaking about this, examples as such as the one that Santiago just gave about Tex-Mex and how people are working in other countries, it directly affects economy, because nowadays it is not only products that you're looking for, it is people that can work and are able to make your company better that also help. That is how economy globalization is also affected by social and cultural factors. For example, a cultural factor that directly affects is how much people work. In the Mexicans that, for example, as Santiago said, go to live to the United States and looking for the dream, they're planning to work, which in a way or another it helps the economy, the United States economy, grow. Something that is also important to say is that it is the 21st century and economic globalization is something that we can see through the internet and through the Wi-Fi. Well, not Wi-Fi, but through the networks. Because now you can make trades just using your computer, and you can be trading right now with someone that is on the other side of the world. And if you buy a product, it will be in your house in a week, maybe even less if you have a special product. So economic globalization is really not in retreat, and there's many ways you can notice that.
Okay, thank you. But well, I would like to also add that free trade is an important factor for political globalization, and even though it's part of an economic nature, it's through the papers of political globalization, because we have to establish rules and solutions. Well, what we could pass or what we could not pass, and that's through political globalization. Also, we have an example of what we have is military regularization, and it is also global politic and legislations who political globalization contemplates. Okay, so what's your own perspective talking regarding regarding social and cultural in globalization? Like what you have to say?
Well, another thing that I have to say is, like my partner Emiliano said, the internet has helped a lot also in this perspective, because the internet have made like a multicultural world in the internet, because you can talk or trade with a person of another country that is at the other side of the world with only a few clicks. There are a lot of statistics that show this, because like 473,000 messages are sent on Twitter in only 1 minute. There's a lot of people talking in this social media, and these statistics show how internet is really useful in this perspective, because in this perspective, these statistics show how people from another country communicate and say things and express their culture on the internet.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
I believe I've stated my point. I just want to say, for example, it has been stated that globalization is something that it's of the early 21st century, that it's not something that is going to keep growing, and that eventually it will stop. It is because of the factories that will be constructed, and countries will have their own factories and they will not need other countries. But I believe, as I've already said, competition is something that will help us keep with the process of globalization and keep improving on things. And if we want to have a ideal world, I believe globalization is the way, to the point where there is no country and there is a world.
Okay, thank you. And well, from my perspective, I also believe that political globalization is a important tool for us to keep going and the world keep going, because we established like the rules and we legislate all the consequences or benefits this could have. And I think it's really important for I think it's really important for all the countries to be everyone to be agree with their rules and with what they can do, and that's all.
Well, I think that in conclusion, globalization is not in retreat, and that globalization is affecting our lives, even though all the controversy and protectionist laws that have been around during the last years. We thought that globalization will continue until until there is going to be only one world and no countries.
Yes.
Thanks.
But well, that's all. Thanks for your attention.